Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Brothers Take, the podcast where three brothers meet each and every week to give their take on their interests. And this week we are back talking about gaming. My name is Chris. I'm joined once again by my brothers Adam
Hello.
and Eric.
Hello.
He's back from his well-deserved holiday. Eric, welcome back. Hope you had a good
Thank you very
time.
much. It was a very good time. Yeah, very relaxing. Lots of sun. I was sweating like a person who sweats a lot.
You came back looking like someone who didn't apply enough sun cream.
I know I got severely burnt on the back. Definitely on the first day. That was quite raw. That was quite raw and sore. But you know what? I got a bit better. Actually, my chest got burnt. All of me got burnt. I just got burnt.
You learned no lessons, really, did you?
I did. Sun cream is helpful.
Well, we are, as I said, back in the room to talk more gaming this week, and we've got a few things to talk about, including the finally they've unveiled the PS5 Pro, which has long been rumored. So we're going to talk about the unveiling of that and what we think about what they've showed of the PS5 Pro. We've got some first impressions for Black Myth Wukong and Astrobot from us. Obviously, those games have been out a little while now, but we hadn't got a chance to talk about them or play them up until now. So we'll be sharing those thoughts and maybe talk about a few other things along the way. But we want to hear from you guys too. So if you guys watch this YouTube, make sure you jump down in the comments to share your thoughts on anything we bring up in this week's episode. If you enjoy this week's episode, please do give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, ring the notification bell for all future content. And to those who listen to us on audio platforms, you can also touch base on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and X at The Brothers Take again to give your take on anything we bring up in this week's episode. If there's anything in the description that you really want to jump into straight away, say if you're here for Black Myth Wukong more so, or you want to just hear what are they saying about Astrobot or whatever, you can just jump down in the description. There'll be a timestamp for that part of the discussion and you can jump straight to it. But otherwise, let's get into this discussion. That is the first time I ever said without further ado. What the fuck is wrong? What's going on? Something
Yeah,
has
man.
changed. Something has
Yeah, man.
changed.
It's fine.
We are not operating at 100% capacity. Eric,
No. Yeah,
when you were away,
I was away.
big things happened. And me and Adam spent all of last week's episode talking about Linkin Park. And just
Hmm.
before we jump into the big gaming stuff,
All
just
right.
wanted to maybe get your thoughts on it because you weren't here, and that's definitely a discussion that you would have, engaged in too.
Yeah, sure. I would have dabbled into that conversation.
Oh, you would have dabbled a little bit. You would have had a little bit of
Yeah,
a thought on that, would you?
yeah, yeah. Right. So I was very aware of it because first of all, brothers take sharing the information, and then I'm sharing it, and then just the algorithm letting you know. So I mean, I listened to the song "Emptiness Machine."
Yeah.
She sounds great. She sounds Emily Armstrong. She sounds fantastic. I really like the song. I think the song. It's pretty cool. And I'm looking forward to the concert that we're all going to in
That's right. The Brothers Take are going to see Linkin Park next week.
That's true. Next week.
That's mad
Ooh,
how
We're going
yeah.
quickly
to
that came
see
along, isn't it? It's like
Linkin Park next week.
'cause
I mean,
normally you're thinking about concerts like it's
Months
like
in advance.
a
It was
year in
very
advance.
yeah. Well, like I did see the Hans Zimmer is going on tour again next year,
nice.
with a new show, and yeah, so but that's like you're like, oh, grand, that's next year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't have to like worry about so many things immediately to get to that, right? Um, but yeah, it was man trying to get the tickets was just like crazy, you know.
I'd imagine so. It did leave very little time for people to like get
Get
sorted.
their shit together.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Especially because
that's
like
true.
I came back from my holiday and then I'm like, oh, in like 2 or 3 weeks I'm yet again getting on a plane and going somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
within the same month. That's nuts. But that should be exciting. It's nice to see them again. I just hope that my curse is weared off and nothing, you know,
We want nothing bad to happen.
we got nothing bad happen.
To be honest, I thought about leaving you behind, Eric. I think you're a bad omen.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
No, looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. And excited for the new album and the new phase of Linkin Park. But to get into our gaming topics then this week, I suppose the newest news of the things we're going to talk about is the PS5 Pro. Um, who was the guy that was presenting that? Was it like Matt Cerny or something?
Mark Cerny?
I don't know who that is. I'm going to be
Really?
honest. So when people have said wish Mark Cerny,
Yeah.
and this is a fault on me. Like I just didn't click who that was, and I was like, am I? Obviously, people are excited about that, but and then I watched it, and I was like,
Who's the guy that looks like Eric?
yeah, but I don't like why. Why was that exciting?
Because he's like the main guy to come on with his crazy eyes to announce technical stuff. He's been doing that since E3.
Oh, all right, okay.
You
Maybe
must have seen him.
I never clicked his name. But no, when I saw him, I was like, oh yeah, I do recognize.
So
this
Mark
guy. I never clicked his
Cerny-
name.
Yeah, Mark Cerny, I
But this is-
believe started
this is-
Naughty Dog. No,
Oh, really?
maybe not started Naughty Dog. But he did work on Crash Bandicoot, I think.
Okay.
Like
So
he's kind of there in the early days of like
PlayStation.
games and stuff. And
Right.
he was brought on board then to be the architectural designer for the PS4.
okay.
And since then, he's been leading that role. So he's the guy who pretty much goes around to all the different studios, seeing like what do you want, as game devs. And
Right.
when it came to like moving from PS3 to PS4, the main request was the things like, oh, we want faster memory, and it'd be nice if it could be easier to code for, and that's what led to the PS4 architecture. And yeah, he's been kind of leading the way ever since. So he's always been doing those kind of presentations. I think he might have presented the PSVR as well. Yeah, so that's his position.
Right. Okay. And what's your take then on the PS5 Pro?
Have
Coming
you heard of it? Like, have you heard anything about it?
I watched that
The
the
presentation.
technical presentation. What I will say is my initial take was that is not going to sell. But I'd love to hear your take.
So I looked at this and huge question marks. But I had huge question marks kind of leading up to this event.
Right.
Because like when we think of like the Pro model, the kind of halfway cycle, which that in itself is a scary thought. It's the
I know what you
halfway
mean.
cycle.
Yeah.
And I'm still trying to find that fucking game, that kind of goes, oh yeah, this is the game of the generation, if you get me.
Right.
We're kind of still waiting for that. The PS4 Pro and Xbox One X were kind of necessary upgrades. I don't think anyone's going to look at them and go, like, why do we even need this? I think there is a case for those systems, whether you got them or not. Because I remember when the PS4 first came out, and it's like a 1080p machine, and yes, people are starting to get 4K televisions. 4K is becoming more common in people's living rooms. And to have something that just cannot reach that, it was like, it almost felt a little bit behind. I think the PS4 and the Xbox One was the first time that I remember, at least, that a console felt behind the market.
Sure. Yeah, like TVs had gone ahead of it.
And PCs were way better.
Right.
Like normally when the consoles launch, not that they're better than PC necessarily, but more that they have more capability than a PC. So we always see this like really huge spike in early console life, and then as the life goes on, then people jump over to PC, because then PCs after overtaking it. So that's why those refreshes were done. So the PS4 Pro, Xbox One X could do 4K now, and it generates a bit of interest halfway through the console lifecycle to try and stop people from moving over to PC.
Right.
Right, so there's a reason for them. Then you come to this generation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're not stopping people from going to PC because you're putting your games on PC. So that's not your reason.
Mm-hmm.
The PS5 can play 4K. So that's not your reason.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand why this console exists. If I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah. No, neither do I. Other than the fact it seemed to me more like, well, we did it last time, so I suppose we should do it again. Like it seems to be like just a it is just a money making thing. I think. I don't know. Maybe some people saw it and were very excited by it. I mean, I felt that even they were showing like the side by side, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not. I mean, I was just honestly, mate. I was like, is there something wrong with me or something? Because I'm looking at these going. I mean, you want to be really fucking picky to be like, that's miles better. Like, you'd want to be really picky to be like, oh, that tree is slightly clearer than that tree. Like,
Yeah.
it's certainly not like leaps and bounds in a way where it's like, oh, that's actually going to really change my immersive experience of the thing. And then to be so expensive at launch. It is ridiculously expensive. It's like, who the fuck has that money? Like, and then the stand is sold separately. It's like, oh, you can't even fucking stand the thing up when you buy it at launch. And then it's only digital.
Yeah.
So, I've been buying discs this whole time. So I either have to now buy a separate disc drive to go with it to play my games that I have, or like in this slightly better version, right? Or I have to re-buy all of my games digitally. So that's, you know what I mean? Like, it's just the most fucking expensive way to play your games slightly better. I don't know what the fuck they're thinking. I think it's absolute lunacy. They're going to lose money on this thing. It's not going to make money.
Yeah, I
really don't think it will.
You know, you can give some companies maybe the benefit of the doubt, but like this one is just, you know, with the PS4 Pro, that was basically that became the price of what the PS4 was, and the PS4 became cheaper.
Yeah.
This is now for us, I think it's nearly 300 quid more expensive.
Yo, it's like €800.
Yeah. And I think the PS5 has
crazy.
Regular PS5 I think has gone up in price.
Yeah,
actually.
not down.
Yeah, not down. So it makes absolutely no sense. And I think as well, you know, there's going to be listeners going, look, there is a clear benefit. The hardware, the numbers are there. Maybe you can see it. Maybe it's to come. Maybe it's like the promise of something great, and you're excited for it. That's great and all. But the Xbox Series X, if you look at its little spreadsheet, has way better numbers than the PS5. That didn't make you go and jump and buy that. The numbers don't matter.
No.
The games.
You mean just like the technical ticks of like it is capable of this and it's capable of that. And,
like the Series X, I think, has on a CPU level is faster than the PS5. Like it makes no difference if you don't have the games there to really back that up.
Right.
And I think this is not just a slip up on Sony's part, but this is a slip up on Microsoft's part. If you don't have clear, good competition, this is why I'm an advocate for the console war, you have bullshit like this.
Yeah.
Because they can go and do whatever they want. This is Sony back in their PS3 era cockiness.
But do you know what as well, right? Let them do it, because like it'll only be their loss. I do not think they're going to make money on this thing. And I to point to an earlier example of maybe, was it last year? The PSVR 2?
Yeah.
They just did it because they went, well, we had a first one.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything for it. And it did not sell. It's too expensive. And there's not enough exclusive experiences to it to warrant buying it in the first place.
Yeah.
Like something that is an add-on. because it is an add-on. You can't use it on its own. It has to have a PS5 as well. So if you wanted to jump into VR gaming and the PSVR 2 was your first go at it and you don't have a PS5 yet, you're talking about over £1,000 to give that thing a go to then play a Horizon game.
Yeah, that's not exactly going to be
Like,
the best experience
you know what I mean?
in the world.
Like, so they I don't know. Maybe we're wrong, and the pro people. I'm sure there's some people excited for it. Certainly, people who have that kind of money to spend and just look forward to getting new tech anyway, or collectors or that kind of thing. But I don't see how like the more regular gamer, which I'm sure this isn't for anyway. The more regular gamer isn't looking at the fucking difference in like one tree and another tree. You know what I mean?
That
Like
was
they're
such
just
a-
not like.
What a silly comparison. I think that didn't help
was
it though, did
weird.
it? Like,
It didn't help at all.
That-
It
Do
Do you
actually,
mean wait? So, okay, I didn't see it actually. When you
Yeah.
say a tree, do you mean
sorry,
a tree,
no, they were
or do you
showing
mean
like
yeah.
three, like the number
no,
three?
like
no,
a plant.
so they were showing, sorry, for context, and it was more than just like it wasn't like a shot of a tree. Sorry, they were showing clips from games.
Right.
So it's like here it is running on a PS5, and here it is side by side running on a PS5 Pro. And it was like Spider-Man 2, and it like freeze frame, and Spider-Man is like high on a lamppost, and there's like a tree in the corner. That's what I'm talking about. But they also showed like Ratchet and Clank and Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth and a few other things, right? And like no doubt, yeah, like one of them looks a little bit better, like you know what I mean? Not hundreds of euro or hundreds of dollars better.
Hmm.
Do you get me? Like
Yeah.
I think it's just crazy.
I don't know, because Adam was showing me and telling me everything about it, and he was telling me the fact that the stand came separate and it was $800, yeah, euro to buy. I think there's plans for doing a disc version, which is another 100
No, the
euro
disc drive
more.
is a separate thing that you can
Buy to attach to it.
buy and attach to it, but that's like 120 quid or something like that. So,
Oh, sorry.
that just
yeah,
keeps creeping up.
yeah, and then the stand on top. That's like the time when, when you had the Xbox 360 actually, right? Talk about console wars, and the Xbox, and everyone was buying the Xbox 360 because it was cheaper.
Mm.
But then when it came down to you had to add on the Wi-Fi router thing to it, and you had to add on you were buying all the batteries for the like controllers, or you had to buy the battery packs, which then you had to have the charger cable. And it was like, yes, it was cheaper, but then you're adding on stuff, and then I think you had to add on more memory or something, like a big giant fucking memory cartridge on the top of it. You had to like buy another one to make it have more memory because it didn't even have as much as the PS3. So it's like, but this is like that, but slightly more stupid because it's already expensive, and now it's add on more shit to make it more expensive. And it's like, that's not how that shit's supposed to work.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wonder
To
if-
make it cheaper so that it feels enticing to buy, and then you go, oh wow, I want the add-ons, and you get the add-ons.
So what you're saying is they're not even good at the sneaky
Yeah.
kind of like Ryanair marketing of like making you spend a lot more money than initially.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like saying we're cheaper, but not really. But yeah,
I know
not
what you
even
mean,
doing
I know what
that
you mean.
correct.
Yeah.
I wonder if the entire existence of this machine is to make the PS5 regular look like a good deal.
More enticing. Maybe. I mean, the only thing that from the talk of the PS5 Pro that I personally was like, okay, like, yeah, I see a positive there. Not worth this money though, was that they're trying to close, like, fuck the slightly crisper and fuck, you know what I mean? Like, because we said it before, it's like, good graphics don't make a good game.
Mhm.
Good graphics are great. We love good graphics. We love good artwork. We love all that stuff. But you also need a good game on top of that. It can't just be otherwise just buy art. But the only time where he said anything where I was like, yeah, okay, cool, was that they're saying a problem that's coming up on the PS5 is people are choosing between performance
Yeah.
and quality.
Mhm.
And that they're trying to close that gap with this. And I was like, I get that. That's cool. But that alone is still not enough. Like, I mean, I'm not at a point where I'm like, oh, fuck it, I'm not playing any games on PS5 anymore.
Yeah.
I hate making that choice every time. Like, I'm still enjoying the games I play. Like, yes, it would be great not to have to choose, but I'm also like, I remember a time where there was no choice and a game looked as shit as it looked and you just played it, you know?
Yeah.
So it's
I
not a
mean,
deal breaker for me
I was able
personally.
to enjoy Skyrim on PS3. Like, say no more.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean?
Say, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's one of my favorite games ever, and it fucking
Yeah.
didn't work. Like, like, are you kidding me? So yeah,
It's not
I
a
think it's
console game
just
unless it's like really janky.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's wild.
I think the only game that they could demonstrate where I'm like, okay, like I could maybe see the benefit of it here, but I'm not even going to entertain the price. Is with like Final Fantasy VII. I think the performance mode making it less kind of blurry would
Yeah,
be
and
would be nice.
they've used that one for most of the marketing. Like most of what I've seen is people saying, "Oh my God, FF7 Rebirth looks incredible on the Pro." Which, like,
However,
yeah,
I don't think that's necessarily a hardware problem as much as it is an engine problem.
possibly. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
there's other games that look absolutely phenomenal and perform really really well. Um, I think that is as much of a and
Well,
I'm not going to say it's a Square Enix problem because it's like okay, well they only had a limited time. They had to choose an engine that's going to be suitable. And then did best what they could with what they had available. But let's say in a perfect world, right? And that they had their own in-house engine or whatever, they could actually get that polished up, no problem. I don't think throwing more specs at it is going to fix the current problems with the industry. What the industry needs is more time and more funding to be able to make the kind of games and experiences they want. If you keep changing the hardware, like that's another thing to keep up with. It's like now I have to make my fucking games compatible with the PS5, performance mode, fidelity mode, and now PS5 Pro. However, no one's really buying that machine, so maybe I won't optimize my game for it. I know my game will run, but I don't need to
Yeah.
optimize my game for it. So therefore, all the people that bought the console is not really going to reap the benefits of it, are they?
I'm of the opinion, and I'm sure Sony will feel very differently, but I'm of the opinion that we are at a point now where I think it is okay for the console cycle to be longer.
Oh fuck yeah, absolutely, it needs to be.
I am okay for I'm okay to not have a PS6 for another like 10 years. I'm okay
well,
with that.
that's a long time.
Okay, maybe shorter, but I don't think we need to see it in 4 years time.
no, because
No.
we haven't actually. We don't
I'm
have.
okay with PS5 having a longer life cycle.
Yeah, we haven't gotten our Last of Us or our God of War 2018 yet on the PS5.
No, well, and this thing is that's going to come in the latter cycle, and then the PS6 will come.
Yeah, kind of
Yeah.
everything
You
at
know
the
what I mean? That
moment.
seems to be the way to go now.
Everything at the moment, I suppose, is like a last gen game that I can play on the current gen hardware.
Hmm.
And that's a lot of what was shown at the tech as well. You know, it's like
Yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Last of Us Part 2. All right, like I played that on the PS4. What's the crack? Like, where are all the new fucking games? We have the console. You don't need to show me another one. Show me
Yeah.
some games.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
And
mental.
I actually think it was a mistake of them personally, from the presentation standpoint. And maybe yeah, okay, they wanted to put all the focus on just the console, but I actually think that they did so in a negative way. I don't think it was exciting. I think it was actually are you out of your fucking mind? I think was the reaction. Maybe I'm wrong. I think they should have showcased a new game with it.
Yeah.
I think people would have been like, "Holy shit, there's a new," and like, and maybe the questions become like, "Is that going to be exclusive to it or something?" Or like, and it up being it should be, but just that people are like associating PS5 Pro with the best way to play this new game. Like, even if it was a quick tease or unveil like Ghost of Tsushima 2, like just something to really make people be talking in a positive way rather than going, "I've already played all these games and that doesn't look much better."
You know,
Yeah.
it'd be hilarious actually
You
if
know?
they had done that. If they had announced the PS5 Pro, and it's like, and
Yeah.
now here's Skyrim.
Well, they really
The PS5 Pro.
they really needed like GTA 6 to come out alongside
Man,
this thing. Like
that would have
that's the kind of event you need. But it's like if you're that far away from it's not necessary. Hold off till the next gen.
A lot of people are theorizing that that's what this machine is going to be for.
Yeah,
Like,
maybe.
I heard a
but
lot of people say it's like, oh, there's the GTA 6 machine. Like, you got to buy that in time for GTA 6.
But that is, and that's part of the
Fuck.
discourse, isn't it? It's like I saw a good bit of I don't even know what you would call the word, but it's like arse licking, I guess. But
Right.
there's a lot of that kind of those kind of conversations going around. It's like, oh, this anticipation for a game that I don't even fucking really know much more about, you know.
Yeah.
And it's you're kind of in your head doing the job that Sony should have been doing to kind of cope with this thing. Like
Yeah.
I thought Jeff Keighley's tweet was really out of touch, like incredibly out of touch.
So I didn't see that. What did Jeff Keighley say about it?
So he just put out a list of past PlayStation prices adjusted for inflation. He gave a list of all the consoles of what they once cost and what they would cost today to kind of show that this isn't a crazy price, right?
Oh, okay.
And it was,
But
it
is though.
It fucking is. Like, it really is.
Yeah. There's no like fuck inflation. People are struggling.
Yeah.
Like the average
Yeah,
Joe
that's-
is struggling.
That
And obviously gaming is a commodity. And in truth, the PS5 Pro is a commodity. Like, even if you're an average gamer, the PS5 Pro is a commodity. It's like the base level console is the PS5. PS5 Pro is it's a luxury. It's not a you have to have this to be involved in the next gen of gaming. So, but it's still like that's crazy money to expect anyone to pay. Now, and then I've heard some people say, I was like, well, try pay for like a top of the range gaming PC, and you'll see then that it's a good deal. And it's like, what the fuck, are you out of your mind? Like, like with a gaming console, you can play everything on. Like, it's not the same thing at all. This is going to be mainly PS exclusives and stuff.
Yeah, that mindset doesn't work, because if we wanted the gaming PC, we would have it by now. That's why we're getting console, because we're not actually wanting the gaming PC.
Yeah, it's not a price. It's not a price problem. It's an everything else problem. It's an experience problem.
And then as for the inflation thing, I mean, that's a bullshit argument. That's the argument that, and we're going to get real political here, but like that's the argument you might have a politician being like, oh, this is the inflation of paying rent to the landlords back in whatever day, and this is what it would be. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, but like that doesn't help now because people don't have the money.
Yeah, it's not as if
everything is so much more expensive.
Yeah, although price of things are going up, it's not necessarily that the wages are going up or anything like that.
It's also like saying, like, if someone makes a criticism to say something is shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
A good defense is not to say, yeah, but it was shit back then. Why can't it be shit now? We should be getting better. We should be doing better things than what was shit.
So there was a couple of, I think it was, journalists and YouTubers and so on. I've seen a couple of polls go around as well where it was, the question was in and around the line of like, how many of you actually play games physically? Well, those polls went in the complete opposite direction that they were expecting. So
really, because I thought everyone had gone digital now, but
oh fuck no, people are still, well, at least in their circle, in their audience, and so on. It's much like majority. I'm talking maybe 80% physical, 20% saying digital. That
Do you
kind
know
of situation.
why? Like, or at least why I think it is. Like, I don't think people trust digital. I think there's a huge
Maybe
range of gamers that don't. No, like lots of people do. Don't get me wrong. I think the people who are buying physical are like, I'm not like, one, if I don't like the game, I like to be able to sell it back.
Yeah.
Or I like to be able to or maybe like a couple of friends buy a game between them and they share it amongst, like, oh, when I'm finished it, you could play it, that kind of thing. Some people just like to have a physical collection. But the other thing is that thing of like, I don't know if I want to go in on this all digital thing, because I think eventually it's going to be like, oh, pay a subscription and we'll release a game a level at a time kind of thing. Like
yeah.
I think people there's a bit of resistance to going all in on the digital thing because they don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah, you know? Like you're trying to hold on to the traditional method as much as you can, the brick and mortar stuff.
Where you own something, like you buy a product and you own the product, and that's it, you know?
Yeah. So it just seems that there's a lot of like the voices in the gaming community, which are almost reach these celebrity-like statuses, Jeff being one of them, are actually so out of touch with the gamers. And it's almost as if this machine and Sony themselves are seeing them as their customer, not us.
Yeah, it's strange. And I mean, you could always do the whole, look at, there it is, buy it or don't. Like, what's your problem? Like, but it just like it's a weird one when it's like it's being presented as something to tune into. Like, I actually think this one should have been a PlayStation blog. I think it was a good idea to do a video presentation of it actually, and I don't think that video presentation sold that thing. I actually think.
Well, the one for PS5
negative.
was also really bad. I remember watching that.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it was not great. Even the one for the PS4 Pro wasn't that great, actually. The best show they've had was the PS4 launch, but it was like an exclusive PlayStation on stage event. Like you had the faces you're used to. You had like the mic drops. You had like Shuhei saying his little thing about this is how you share games on PlayStation. Thanks. It's like all those amazing moments that like are just gone now. It all feels like, I don't know, they just went, hey ChatGPT, write me a presentation for this next console, please. It's completely lost character. Like Sony has no personality anymore.
Yeah, struggling to find it again, I think. Or struggling to find a new one. I think they will. I think they'll get there. But there's been like, I think the Jim Ryan phase was a weird, just corporate phase. And he's not gone that long.
Yeah,
and certain things were still in motion. So I think once we get to a point where actually the new decision makers are making all the new decisions, we might start getting to a point of like it feeling a little bit more community focused. I could be totally wrong,
but this could also, considering it seems to be that the main consumer bases, from what I'm hearing from yous, is not everyone is super happy with this. This might be a bit of a kick in the arse to PlayStation, and Xbox might get to have that victory that they've been craving.
Like Xbox has to do a fucking like. This is an opportunity. Yes, I agree. This is an opportunity for Xbox to take the moment and because they can undercut this. Their Xbox, like the Series X, is like very, very capable machine. We've spoken about that plenty of times. Yeah. That also offers the 2 terabyte of storage now that the PS5 Pro has, which I think is that's the main, at least for me, would be the biggest selling point, is like more storage, right? And you need access
they're
to
not constantly deleting games to play new games.
Yeah, because that's a pain in the arse.
Yeah. So they just need to, for their sake, I hope Indiana Jones does well, because we kind of need them. We need them for Sony to go, shit, we should really be a little bit more careful about our decisions here.
Yeah, and I actually think as well, and I get why they're not doing it, and I don't want to turn this into a much bigger discussion, really, but I think Xbox should be stricter with their exclusives. I understand why they're not. They need to make money. But I think there's an investment in making Doom exclusive. You can't have Doom, we own it now. Because if you owned it, you wouldn't give it to us. We fucking know you wouldn't. Yeah, I haven't been playing ball with us at all. Why would we play ball with you? And like, we need a few exclusives. Like big top dog exclusives that people are like, that's a series I fucking love.
As much as I don't like that sentence, but I do agree.
You know what I mean? Like, no, but from the perspective of like a console company trying to like really be the competition, I suppose the thing is they're not trying to be the competition anymore. They're just trying to be this thing where it's like, we're hoping everyone gets Game Pass at some point. And that's what we're really fully invested in on. That Game Pass is such a good deal. And if we can get it everywhere, or as many places as possible, like even now that like the fact that it is going to be an app on a TV, like I guarantee it's going to be on, it'll become a very standard app on future televisions, you know?
But that's not a good moneymaker for them, does it?
It's not now.
Will it ever? It's hard to know.
It could be.
Yeah, the problem with, I suppose, the subscription services, like what we're seeing with Spotify and the likes of it, is that they're almost starting themselves up for failure, promising that it's actually great and they're making a fuck ton of money, and then actually realizing, oh fuck, we actually don't have enough money to actually pay anyone really. So we'll just incrementally up the price every so often. But we've given you a service that you can't say no to now. You've built up a huge library. You've got so many friends on it. You've got built playlists. So you're not going to say no. Where's you going to go? Where's the alternative? So give us your money. So that's the unfortunate future of Game Pass.
I'm going to put it out there again, getting a little more political. That's the future of life. You're probably going to have to pay a subscription just for your goddamn like groceries.
Well, I mean, even if like I suppose people are fighting back, I suppose, but there is an opportunity. Like, there's certain things that you can just cut out of your life, and you just say, "Look, no."
Yeah. But also people don't, because there's also I think like there's the pressure of FOMO, right? The fear of
for
missing
sure
out thing,
yeah.
Where it's like, well, everyone else is on this thing, and I feel like I'm
not part of the
these jokes
conversation.
and references, and I don't know anything that's going on, so I suppose I better download TikTok and see what it's all about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then suddenly
Never.
you're in on that. No, I haven't. I am not going to. Okay, you can't make me. Although maybe they can. Maybe they'll find a way.
You can only get the news on the next Final Fantasy if you're on TikTok.
Ah, shit.
We got him.
We got him, everyone. But I think a lot of what we have been talking about is that what gamers want more than hardware, right? And we're talking about the casual gamers now. Yes, there are hardcore gamers that are very interested in what the hardware can do, and then people making experiences that utilize that hardware. But I think what the casual gamer wants is just great games to play. That's what they want. And they get the machine that can play the next great game, right? So, Eric, what I want to know, in your first impression so far...
See that little smooth transition he did there now?
It was pretty good, I have to say. It was a lot better than my forgetting to say without further ado. But without further ado, Eric, I want to know... Because Black Myth Wukong was one of our most anticipated games of the year. For the last few years, I think it's been highly anticipated by many, many gamers. It has clearly been a very popular game. If not just on Steam, but like, it has done very well, I would say. I did see just the intro with you, and I was impressed by what I saw. But you obviously, that's still not enough to get a good grasp on what the full gaming experience is. Eric, how much have you played, and give us your impressions of Black Myth Wukong so far?
So I think there are 6 chapters in total in the game. I think. I'm at the end of chapter 3, so I'm about halfway through the game. That's when I had my first rage quit. If you've played the game and you've gotten to chapter 3, especially at the end of it, you'll know what I'm talking about when I'm saying a rage quit. They did a really dick move. Like, really dick move. But on a positive note, I mean, graphically, it's beautiful. The lighting is beautiful. Gameplay wise is very fast, fluid, and fun. But it's got this weird thing where sometimes it's like, oh yeah, this is very Soulsborne, and other times like, this is a bit like God of War, and then it's like, oh no, it's like, so it's this weird balance where really I actually wish it was more like God of War than it was Soulsborne. I actually don't.
Which one is it more like? Because this was the big question we had all along. We were like, I think it's going to be more like God of War, but there's elements of it that seem very Dark Souls, and now we don't know. We're not sure. Which one is it?
Soulsborne. It's more Soulsborne.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's in the difficulty of the boss fights. Not that they are super difficult. Some of them might defeat it in one go. Others, they might have just got like a lucky hit on me, and I had to do 2 or 3 goes on them. But it definitely is Soulsborne, especially even in its way of like storytelling. It's not as
this is where Adam's gonna lose interest.
It's not as straightforward. Sometimes people are talking, and I know this is gonna sound weird. I don't really know what they're saying. Now I'm playing the game in English, and there are subtitles, but it's the way they're talking. It's like I don't really know what they're making reference to.
Right, I get you.
I was wondering that from the intro scene that I saw. I remember saying that to you, where I was like, maybe I was like, maybe they're going to explain it further, but from the way they're talking now, and they're just talking about events as if you know them, it seemed to me a bit like Rocksteady's Batman games, where they are referring to events, and if you're a Batman fan, you know exactly what they're talking about. But they don't actually just stop and explain to you if you're a
Mhm.
total beginner and know nothing about Batman,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's because Batman's such a big pop cultural thing here in the West, right?
Right.
What I was wondering was then this game is obviously based on a Chinese myth. And I'm wondering in Asia, does everyone know that myth to the point where they're like, yeah, I know exactly what he's talking about. That's amazing. That's badass. I can't believe they referenced that thing. But like, we're kind of lost because we're like, I actually don't know that myth that well. So I don't
It
know what you're talking
depends.
about.
It depends on how close it is to that myth.
Yeah,
Because
right.
with the way people in Soulsborne games typically talk, they just kind of say things and everything is nearly up for interpretation of what they're saying. So
Mm,
this is kind of similar where they talk and you're like, I you're saying things. I'm slightly piecing things together. Maybe I'll find out more when I play more of the chapter. You get to the end of the chapter, like, yeah, I'm still kind of piecing shit together here.
right.
Um, the basic part of the plot is you play as a character known as the Destined One, and you have to go across China, I suppose, to six different locations to collect six different relics to recreate Sun Wukong, the Monkey King. So you don't play as Sun
Oh, that's
Wukong.
cool.
You're trying to recreate Sun Wukong, who has been split across into six different pieces. And it seems like everyone is against that idea, or not everyone, but all the people you're fighting are essentially against that idea, or trying to use the relics of Sun Wukong to reach godhood, or they're protecting it for some master or something like that. So it looks like there's something in the background, but again, I haven't fully reached that point where is this all culminated or is every chapter self-contained. But so far, chapter 3 is the most kind of God of War
Okay.
in its sort of storytelling and its kind of way. It seems to be a little bit more coherent, a bit, and the characters kind of just the way they behave and the kind of interpretations of these characters feels a bit God of War. Like I fought the dragon. I don't know if you saw in the gameplay that the big frozen lake with the dragon. I fought her. That was a cool fight. I kicked my ass about three
Mm,
times, but that was a very cool fight. And then I fought her again in human form. And it was a very like God of War kind of moment, how it transitioned from cutscene to fight scene and that kind of interpretation of that goddess. So chapter 3 so far is the best, but also has the most middle finger boss fight at the end of it. Because it just goes from boss fight to boss fight to boss fight in just one after another with
right.
barely any
Okay.
time to
Recuperate.
recuperate. And in the last phase of the boss fight, you're stuck there. You just have to fight that boss. So if you did not prepare yourself properly,
Oh, this is like a Final Fantasy moment.
Yeah,
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 so
yeah.
that's where I am at the moment where I'm like, oh, okay,
Do I start
better
again?
just yeah, a little bit. It's like, do I just
Now,
keep going?
from that, do you think that's like an oversight and like a kind of a bad design choice, or do you think this is like an on purpose decision? Like,
Um,
was there anything earlier that may have hinted possibly to this occurring? Okay,
no,
okay.
no. So I would say this is again where I go, I wish this was more like God of War. Mainly because I wanted you to play it.
Right. And are you now like going, I don't think they're going to play this.
They're not gonna play this. This is
Okay.
it's so
I'm really
Soulsborne.
disappointed. I'm actually really disappointed.
It's easier than Soulsborne games
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
most part, but it still just has those boss fights that are quite like that. Now,
Hmm.
in saying that, if you are a fan of Soulsborne games, it still gives you that satisfaction of when you beat the boss. Because there was this one boss I was fighting, and they were like really big, and I was down to like this one more hit, and I would have died. And I just fucking kept spamming square, and then I got the boss, and I was like, oh, thank God! Like it was. I've had plenty of those moments that are really close, and then other moments where I just absolutely decimated bosses and felt like such a badass.
Yeah.
Um, but it is interesting. You do get like in God of War, when you defeat an enemy, you get sort of their dossier or their like kind of codex entry.
Right, yeah.
You do get that with characters and enemies that you fight and stuff like that. So I suppose maybe if I read them, I'd understand a bit more. I just don't because they're big. They're very big.
Right.
They're
Right,
not
yeah.
bullet point.
And I suppose you don't
Uh,
really want to spend your time when you're sitting on the couch trying to engage with something. You don't want to just sit there and read your screen.
No.
Yeah. I always
No,
find
but
those type of entries odd in a game. Remember when the way Destiny used to do it, which was like you find a codex thing entry, it would like unlock it on an app on your phone. So if you want to get the story, you go and take your phone out and read it there. This is like,
Yeah.
fucking
Very
why?
Yeah, very strange.
Like this whole reading shit is like, this is like, okay, I understand why it was available, like why games did that back in like PS1 days and PS2 days, but like, come on, surely we have a better way to tell our stories these days.
Yeah,
I don't mind
audio.
them. I don't mind them if it's like just extra information, but you don't need it.
Yeah, like the letters you
Yeah.
find in The Last of Us and things like that.
Right, things like that, or
Yeah,
like
it's like,
codex
it's like
entries
more
and like,
world building. Yeah,
Deeper lore as opposed to, oh no, this is the actual lore.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what
I get
Soulsborne
you.
games are. It's like, no, you want to learn the lore, you got to read about this.
You gotta
sword.
join-
Actually, you have
Just-
to watch a YouTube video.
Yeah, you got
Sorry,
and
yeah.
join the Reddit page or something. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
we
it's
sounded
still
total dicks.
it's still very much enjoy this game. I think it's really good fun, and I'm a bit interested to actually pick up and read Journey to the West that it's based off of to see
Yeah.
how close is it based off of, because like there's a character I was traveling which is like either a boar or a hog, and this guy made me really go, he's like Brock from God of War. Like he's
Right.
rough around the edges. He meets a little baby Buddha looking chap, and he's like, "Look, listen here, you chubby kid. Don't want your, he's rough around the edges, and he's a badass who fights with his rake. He helps you in some fights." And he mentioned coming to this location with Sun Wukong. So I was like, is Journey to the West a prequel to this? Like I'm thinking to myself, is
must
that what
be.
they'd be?
Oh right, okay. Like this is like made as a epilogue almost to the book, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking. Maybe it's like that. Designs are awesome. Love
Yeah,
the
I mean they
designs.
always looked incredible, didn't they? And
Yeah.
how are like the other cutscenes? Because the intro cutscenes were like were very much God of War esque or like Final Fantasy VII remake series kind of cutscenes. Like they were fucking incredible.
Yeah. So the incredible ones are pretty incredible, and then you have other ones that are just like, I am a boss introducing myself.
Sure. Okay.
But the incredible ones are pretty, like, again, the dragon appearing was a pretty cool cutscene.
And is there much of them? Like from what you've played, is there many? Do they show up often, or is it like a very rare occurrence to see these type of cutscenes?
Be rare enough
Okay.
to get like those big epic ones. But another cool cutscene that they do is at the end of each chapter do an animation, which I think
Oh yeah. Okay.
it's supposed to yet again add a bit of lore to the situation that you were kind of just playing, I think. But
You're like, I don't know.
maybe. But they're done in their own animation style. So one of them was done and it looked very like traditional Chinese water art painting, and another one was done in stop motion.
Oh,
That's
cool.
really
All right.
And then there's
like
there's
that
other
kind of
ones
shit.
that
That's
are
cool.
all have their own animation styles, and then also at the end of each chapter you get a mosaic tapestry where it almost shows like it just shows this image, and it shows various of like the characters and creatures from that chapter, and you can
Okay.
zoom in and you can get sort of a bit more information about certain things from the previous chapter. So
How are you finding the voice acting? Because when I watched again only the intro, I was like, I think if I was playing this, I'd play this in Chinese with English subtitles, which I don't usually. I don't necessarily feel that way. Usually, I am just like because I just want to sit back and not have to read while playing. Like, but I felt that the cadence of the English voice actors in that intro, like they were trying to match the energy of the Chinese voice actors, I thought. And I was like, that probably sounds more natural in Chinese.
Probably.
than in English. But I don't know. So how, like, I'm just curious from that. How is the voice acting in the rest of the game
I
from
don't,
what
I
you've
don't, I
played?
don't mind the voice. I'm not expecting any of them to get like an award or anything for that for voice acting. But it's fine. It serves its purpose. The main character, Sun Wukong, had his typical voice that we just would not like because it's all like, I am here to be the Sun Monkey King and blah blah blah, right? Luckily, the main character doesn't talk at all, so I don't have to listen to that voice.
Right. Okay. So there's less voice
Us
acting, really.
for him, there's less voice, and then everyone else just sounds fine.
Okay. Well, fair enough then.
Fair enough.
That answers that. I think my final question about Black Myth Wukong so far, from your impressions so far, is
Oh, music's great, by the way. Music is very good.
oh nice.
Nice, yeah. It's
Do you think this is a Game of the Year contender? And
I
what I mean by that is, will it be one of the 5 or 6 nominated? I don't mean necessarily.
I'd be a bit surprised if it wasn't.
Okay, yeah, because I was getting that impression myself from just like it was more positively reviewed. Like, you know what I mean? There's more positive reviews than negative reviews, and it seems to be a very impressive game visually and gameplay wise.
Yeah. My only gripe with it is that I don't even mind the gameplay style that they went for because you can do that gameplay style. I just don't like that it's as difficult as it is. I just wish it was a little bit more accessible in that, like, like Jedi Survivor or Stellar Blade, you can play them on an easier difficulty, so you can just enjoy them while still playing with that gameplay style. So I wish it was just a bit easier so that, anyone could just play and enjoy the game.
Yes.
And then if you have those people who are like, no, you have to get good and play games on all the hardest difficulties, then just have a hard difficulty for them.
I like your thinking, Eric. Yeah. What's wrong with making games accessible?
What's
the issue, guys?
What's wrong with just being able to enjoy the game and not having to rage quit?
Put an easy mode on the hard game. Put a hard mode on the Lego game. That's what we want.
Yeah.
That's what we want. Well, I think another Game of the Year contender this year is going to be Astrobot.
Really?
Which yes, 100%. I'll be shocked. I think at the moment, depending on how the rest of the year goes, it is between this game and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I think that's what it's down to at the moment.
So this could possibly be a better game than Final Fantasy VII Rebirth?
I didn't say that.
I said possibly.
It could possibly. So Astrobot, well, I'm just going off as well. I think I'm enjoying the game. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't be. I'm not a big platformer guy, so I wouldn't be head over heels in love with the game as much as some people would be. In that, I'm not like, oh my god, every waking hour I just want to be playing that game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm perfectly happy to play a bit and kind of go off it, but I really enjoyed what I played, kind of thing, right? But just going off the critics' reviews, it's the highest rated game this year.
That's
so
insane.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a 94 on Metacritic.
Wow. So
I was just looking at that and doing the math,
yeah.
The
question I'd have for this is that I know where this is similar to Astro's Playroom.
Yeah.
Where is it different?
It's not a whole lot different.
Okay.
It's not a whole lot different. So it's really
if I've played Astro's Playroom, have I essentially I've experienced this game basically. So,
in a way, there's
what
more.
The fuck?
No, bear with me. It's more there's new gimmicks to platform. Every single platformer level has a new gameplay mechanic,
right?
To do.
Okay.
But it is the spirit of Astro's Playroom. So it's if you played Astro's Playroom and you were like, I would love a full game of this, then this is that game. But it's not a leaps and bounds different experience to Astro's Playroom. Almost think of Astro's Playroom as the demo to this game. Now, I don't mean like you don't play the same levels from Astro's Playroom
No,
in this
yeah.
game. No, no, not at all. But what it is to say is that like if you were looking for like a wildly different experience, no, not at all.
No, I don't mean that. I just mean like, 'cause so Astro's Playroom is designed to be more of a, hey, let's just almost like a museum. I would say it's like a museum.
Mm.
There's absolutely no challenge to it. It's more of a discovery thing, right? It's like you don't want to punish people in a situation like that because it is just a showcase.
Yeah.
So is there like so platformers like even the likes of Mario, the challenges I guess would be based off of like timing,
Mm-hmm.
getting
Oh yeah.
through
Yeah. Oh
obstacles.
yeah.
So that there's
Oh,
that's
gotcha. All
okay.
of that is in there. Yeah,
Correct.
yeah. No, it is a platformer game, like and like.
Okay, so
was in
it's
a
different
I
on
was-
a challenging perspective then.
Yeah, and there's like secret levels. So like, I mean, obviously this game is a family-friendly game, right?
Yeah.
For the most part, it's not like it's not. It's the opposite of Black Myth Wukong. You die, you respawn exactly where you were, and you just have to retry the thing you failed at.
Yep.
If you get hit once, you die, right?
Right.
So the thing is, don't get hit and don't fall, right? And try and learn how to defeat new enemies or how to overcome new obstacles, how to use your new gimmick that you have in that level. But I think the challenge is not playing and completing Astrobot from what I gather. The challenge would be platinuming Astrobot.
Oh really? Is it like time based?
No, it's can you collect all the bots, but there are these secret levels that you can unlock and find. And in the secret levels, if you get hit once, you have to redo the whole level.
Okay.
So and you have to do all of them in order to platinum the game. So that's where like it's like if you're looking for the extra challenge here.
Yeah,
it is.
so they have those little
But if
bits.
you want just to play through the experience, and I think like what you were saying is apt about Astro's Playroom. Astro's Playroom is a museum. Astrobot is a theme park.
Okay.
So Astrobot is about going to new levels, new places, playing with new gimmicks, and seeing what you discover along the way. Way more character references than Astro's Playroom had.
Mm-hmm.
And in some cases, they play a larger role. In that, and I've only done one of these so far, but I know there's more. You get to unlock a level where you do the gameplay of that game,
Okay.
but it's Astrobot themed.
This is a game as well because there's a physical edition of this, yeah?
There is a physical edition of this.
This is a game where it yet again shows why physical edition is good, right? So like if Adam, let's say, is still a bit like, I don't really know if I want to be picking this up, you could just loan it to him.
Well, I was actually going to say it to you because there's not like a big like. Obviously, this game is not like a story game. You know what I mean? Like the story is paper thin. It's not about that. It's all about gameplay. So it's the opposite of the narrative experience type game that PlayStation is known for. This game is all about just fun
Back to its
gameplay.
roots, platforming.
The setting is just you're in your ship at the start of the game, right? Which is the PS5. It comes across an alien. It's the worst designed alien I've ever seen. It's crap. There's nothing interesting about the big alien that's like the boss. It breaks your PS5 ship apart, and then all the bots are stranded across the galaxy, and now you have to go and rescue them and fix your mothership. And that's the game. That's it. Along the way, you'll fight evil robots, and there'll be boss fights as well that are like.
Have
big
you
set
played
pieces.
Astrobot Rescue Mission?
I have not played Astrobot Rescue Mission.
I wonder if it's similar enough to that then, because that's
It might be.
that's
It might be more
the
like
same
that.
premise at least, but that
Yeah.
that was a VR experience. Very fun actually.
Yeah, yeah.
It'd be hilarious if there was the most mind-blowing twist at the end of this game.
It would be hilarious if it actually by the end of it you're just like, whoa,
Yeah.
man, you have to play it. This is like Doki Doki Literature Club. You think it's all fun and games, and then before you know it, it turns into a survival horror game.
It's actually
no.
just the intro to Abandoned.
Yeah, man, there should be an abandoned reference in there. What I was going to say was when I finish it, I'll just loan it to you because it's not a thing where I think And then you might decide, oh, actually, I want a copy of it. But you also might just decide, no, playing it was enough. That was the experience.
Yeah, because I can
enjoyed,
imagine
you know
it's
what I mean?
probably one of those like, it's like, oh, I can't wait to play that again. You know, like once you've played it, you probably played it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Like, and obviously, I still have a lot more to play, and maybe I'll feel differently by the end of it.
So we
I think
may end up seeing a load of secondhand copies of this, but that's not a reflection on the quality of the game. It's more of a
I don't
I'm
think
finished
so.
with it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Like, I think, like, I'm not surprised at all by the reviews it's getting. It's an incredibly well polished game. There's been no, like, I have no critiques of it really, except that maybe I didn't like the design of the big alien thing in the kid friendly game. You know what I mean? um, like the gameplay is fucking
Not enough
incredible,
tentacles.
and there's a lot of surprises every time you go to it. Like I went to a level last night, when I was playing it, and I was like, "What do you do here?" And then you find a thing, and you're able to shrink and regrow in size, and you're doing platforming through that basis then, where you shrink down, and suddenly you're jumping on things that you couldn't get on when you were big, and then you might get inside something, and then if you go big again, you break it open, and like it was just really fucking fun to figure out what to do with just that mechanic. And that's only that level. You'll never do that again from what it looks like. Because every single level uses a different gimmick. So it's basically you're playing a series of mini games while platforming the whole way through.
Perfect. Yeah, it kind of sounds like this is kind of picking up where Media Molecule kind of games left off. They seem to have like gone more and more into like the creative side, so with Dreams and things like that.
Oh,
But
sure, yeah.
like Little Big Planet and Tearaway were both, platformers that like kind of used its world and its mechanics in really, really interesting ways. So it's kind of picking up from there, I think.
It's also a great, like this year is the 30th anniversary of PlayStation.
Oh, fuck.
So this game is like a great kind of celebration of that. It's kind of a good time to release this game and to play this game because, I mean, the references are just fantastic. Like whether it's little bits of equipment, like even the menu, and you have 3 kind of save file slots, but they're all PS1 memory cards. You know, and like just all the little things where it's like the PlayStation symbols are everywhere, or elements of older systems are all over the place, dotted around the map. And then, of course, the character references. Some of them are like very noticeable, or very like, I know exactly who that is. And then some of them are like, I've never heard of that character. What franchise are they from? Like, so there's 300 bots you can collect in total in this game, or that you have to try and find. I don't think you have to get all of them to complete it, but obviously you'd have to get all of them as part of the platinum. From what I've heard, about 150 of those are PlayStation characters.
All right, okay.
So there's a lot, you know. And I actually thought it was only going to be protagonists, but I sent you a picture of one of them was Psycho Mantis, and I was like, this is fucking hilarious. Like, how many other characters like that are not necessarily like the protagonist characters are going to be in this game? Like how deep are the references going to go? And then there's like another little extra part to that where there's a thing in it called a gacha machine, and with all the coins you collect, you could spend them in the gacha machine, and it unlocks a random piece of like, what would you call it? Maybe it's a costume or an item or something for the bots that you've collected. So, for example, one of them is the cardboard box, and now suddenly if you go into your hub world and find the Solid Snake one, he's now hiding under a cardboard box. And if you hit it, the cardboard box comes up and he's looking at a magazine and he's embarrassed then. You know, like things like that, where it's like they're funny little references, or maybe it's the ape escape net. Now the guy is running around in a net trying to catch the apes and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to finding more of them and seeing what else is to come. From the level that I played that was themed, I can't fucking wait to meet Kratos, because I'm like putting the pieces together from the trailer where Kratos threw the axe to Astrobot. And I'm like, oh, we're 100% going to play a God of War Ragnarok Astrobot level. So I'm like, I can't wait to throw the Leviathan axe as Astrobot running around. That's like, I'm so excited for that. And what else is to come? Like, is there an Uncharted level? I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, it's a bunch of fun. I don't think it's going to be a particularly long game. That might throw some people off the price point. But yeah, if you like platformers, it's a really fucking good platformer. And if you liked Astro's Playroom, it's a really good Astro's Playroom game. If you don't like platformers, I would not get this game. And if you didn't like Astro's Playroom, like obviously you have to have a PS5 to get Astrobot anyway. So what I would say, if you're thinking about getting it and you haven't yet tried out Astro's Playroom on your PS5, play that. If you really enjoy that, you might like a full game of it. If you do not enjoy that in any way, I don't see how you would like Astrobot, because it's that. And the haptic feedback is fucking incredible. Every surface.
So this is probably the
every single
only
surface.
game so far that actually takes advantage of that.
Yeah, and you're still doing the things like I was climbing a thing last night and I had to move my controller certain ways to climb it. You know, sometimes you're flying and you're using the controller to sway so it's flying. All that kind of stuff, adaptive triggers. Like, it's really utilizing the DualSense in the way that Astro's Playroom did, but it's just finding new scenarios to use it for that maybe Astro's Playroom didn't do. As well as some ones that, yes, it did do. Like, you are doing some of the same stuff. But it's more like, I remember when playing Astro's Playroom saying, I would play a full game of that. And this is the game. That's basically it.
Nice.
So yeah, that's Astrobot. I do recommend it. And I'm not going to be surprised when it is one of the Game of the Year nominees.
You'd be more surprised if it wasn't.
I'd be shocked if it wasn't. Absolutely shocked. Based purely on, like, and again, because I'm not a platformer guy. Like, it's not necessarily, if it was going to be like, oh, Chris's list of, now I probably would put it in this year actually, because there haven't been a lot of games this year that blew my mind. If this came out last year, I don't think I would have put it in my personal list, even though I think other people would have, because there were so many games last year I loved. But when you look at, like, usually the big Mario games and stuff make it in there. So, like, platformers are fucking popular games. Like, this is a really solid platforming game. So, I would be shocked if it's not in there. It will be. 100% it will be. The question will be, will it win? I'm telling you. The question will be, will it win Game of the Year? It very well might. I mean, It Takes Two won 2 years ago.
Yeah, it'll be.
And it was kind of like that. Actually, that's the next thing they need to do with Astrobot, right? The next step for that as a series, co-op. Co-op would be fucking fun in that game. But now we want to hear from you guys. Whether it's your thoughts on Astrobot, if you've been playing it, or if you have any questions on it or whatever. If you've been playing Black Myth Wukong, what do you think about that? Are those two games Game of the Year contenders? Do let us know if they're going to be up there. What else do you think is a Game of the Year contender this year? And what are your thoughts on the PS5 Pro? Are you in on it? Are you excited about it? Are you baffled by it? Do let us know. If you guys have been watching YouTube, jump down in the comments to share your thoughts. If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, ring the notification bell for all future content. And to those who listen to us on audio platforms, you can touch base on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and X at The Brothers Take. Again, to give your take on everything we brought up in this week's episode. Thank you very much for checking us out. We'll be back to talk to you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.